Hey, today Embark Studios just dropped a teaser for a new item that we'll be able to use topside. We'll also go over details surrounding server issues, devs discussing aggressive base matchmaking, and bugs that they're working on. Not only that, we have a lot more to go over. If you can do me a solid, tap the thumbs up, aka the like button below, and the hype button as well. With that said, let's jump right in. Alrighty Raiders, we've got some pretty cool news. The developers dropped a teaser for the Cold Snap event, but not only that, they also revealed a new item we'll be able to pick up and use. It's probably something you're not expecting, but let's check it out right now. Now, there are a couple of things I'd like to point out and talk about. First, I'd like to say it's awesome that they're introducing a new instrument, and wouldn't it be cool if it's possible to sync up with someone that's playing the guitar? So, let's say you have a flute and they've got a guitar. It would be incredible for the two to match up and play a song together. But what if it's two guitars? Hopefully there's something there as well when it comes down to syncing stuff up. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if it's possible because I believe it was doable in the finals, which is another Embark Studios game. And other studios have done something similar, like the Sea of Thieves, for example. The other thing I'd like to mention is that at the end, this fellow was called Luton Lenny Scroggins. Such a great name, by the way. But that's not what I like to point out, because we can see the date he was born was 2152 and passed away from getting hit by a rocketeer in the year 2180, which was today? But yeah, I'm not entirely sure or 100% sure if there's any lore that has told us what year this game takes place in, because I was quite surprised to find out it was 2180. Anywho, if you have any comments about this, let me know. Are you excited to see a guitar in the game? Are you excited about everything that's coming? Also, let me know if I'm wrong or if I'm right about the lore. Have they told us about whether or not it's year 2180? If so, drop a comment below. Anyways, besides the new items, we have discussed the recent matchmaking and server issues as of late. Thankfully, we've got a response from the Embark Studios team. Here's what they had to say. Raiders, we're aware that matchmaking errors are happening again for some players. Our team is investigating and will share updates as soon as we can. Now, this message right here was sent out earlier this morning, or for some of you, it might have been in the afternoon. Nevertheless, there hasn't been another response from them at all, and unfortunately, the matchmaking issues are still going on. The only response we got back as of late was from a community manager who replied or relayed essentially the same information, that they'll update us soon and give us word on what's going on and if things have been resolved. Oh, and also an Embark Studios team member replied to someone who said matchmaking is messed up on duos. They've been connecting to lobbies with trio teams. Her response was that it might be due to the matchmaking issues, and the team is still looking into all the issues, but also looking into that issue in particular. So not only are they investigating the general matchmaking errors and all that stuff, but they're also taking a look at what's going on with the duo matchmaking. I personally play solos mainly, so I couldn't tell you if things are really messed up with duos, but it definitely seems like there's something going on here. Oh yeah, on a related note, we've got word of some matchmaking issues for solo players. Right here, this player wrote that Embark Studios broke matchmaking, and when they queued up for a solo match, they ended up in a trios or duos lobby, which is very interesting. Like I mentioned a few seconds ago, I haven't noticed any huge issues besides, it taking a long time for me to get in a match. Nevertheless, if you've experienced an issue with solo matchmaking, please let me know by dropping a comment below. Also, if you'd like to message them and contact them if you're receiving an error that's just causing some issues, this is what the community manager wrote. If you keep getting the same error, would recommend contact us. It could take some time though. We don't have tools to help you investigate further here on Discord, unfortunately. Well, there you go. If you're still receiving some errors and you're not able to actually play, then I highly suggest contacting them and hopefully you'll get a response back very soon. Next up, we've got a response from a community manager about a texture bug that's been going on, which is basically a spot that I won't show exactly how to do, mainly because I don't want anybody to exploit it and cause so many issues online, right? But there's a spot, which you'll see right here, where players are able to hide underneath the sand texture. This particular spot was pointed out by a member of the official Arc Raiders Discord, and the Embark Studios community manager replied to a player who asked if they're going to resolve any of the bugs. Then in response, the community manager wrote back to say, "No ETA at the moment, but we have a team on it." This answer is probably not the one you'd like to hear from a community manager or really from Embark Studios. However, I will say it's good to know they've got a team investigating the bugs, especially the spot I just showed where players are hiding underneath it. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you've had a cheater exploit this specific spot. Now, speaking of exploits, it seems players have rediscovered ways to get behind walls and underneath the floors, which you'll see in this video clip from the Arc Raiders subreddit. You can see the cheaters firing at this raider who can't really defend themselves, given that cheaters are hiding in inaccessible areas. And to be honest, Arc Raiders has a huge problem right now with cheaters. There are players who continue to discover ways to get out of bounds, behind walls, or underneath floors to defeat players who can't fire back. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be an easy fix, considering the unstuck mechanic is being used frequently to get out of bounds, which is what players have been doing on Stellamontis to pop themselves up at top, basically getting on top of the map. Not to mention, the rope that was discovered on Stellamontis can still essentially be used to get out of the map. Now, I won't get into the details too much because I just don't want to explain it all right here, but you can watch my previous video about that one and you can just get caught up. Next up, we've got another discussion here about players losing their progress, and I mean all of their progress, which is a little weird. This player wrote, "I lost all my progress on Steam. Game wanted me to log into Embark ID or sign up even though I have 100 hours and I couldn't enter my account through Steam. I tried to link my Epic account too, besides Steam, and game started me from the tutorial. Now I'm level 0 and I lost all my progress." And the Embark Studios team member said she forwarded to the team, or thinks will forward. And that's great, but at the same time, this issue needs to be resolved. I've heard that there's multiple players out there that have experienced this issue. I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. Maybe players aren't linking their accounts, or maybe it's something else. I have no idea. But this is very interesting, and if it's happened to you, let me know in the comments. Continuing on, we have another interesting discussion to go over, and this one is a great comparison. We have a player here that compared the Volcano versus the Toro, and it's very interesting to see the differences between the spread. On the left is the Toro, and on the right is the Volcano. What's interesting is that, of course, the Volcano is an epic tier weapon. It's purple tier. However, a green tier weapon can outbeat a purple. This is a common theme so far with most of the guns in Arc Raiders. It's surprising, like the Bobcat isn't as great as a lot of players may think it is. Like, I believe the Stitcher outbeats it. I'll have a video on that like later on, but absolutely, man, I don't see or understand why these weapons are like it. Like, I don't see why it's like that. But if you have noticed the same thing, let me know in the comments. Do you think they need to make the epic tier weapons more epic and just, you know, make them better than the green tier? Because it should be, right? Let me know. Lastly, we've got one more discussion for today, and this is about the Vita shot. This player right here is basically saying that it's a poor healing option compared to the Vita spray. Specifically, crafting one Vita shot requires 2 antiseptics, while a Vita spray costs 3 but delivers 3 times the healing. They also acknowledge that, you know, the Vita spray can additionally help a lot when you've already, you know, threw on a bandage. You can heal up more with the Vita spray. They also pointed out that it's just not the best. Not the Vita spray, but the Vita shot. And I do have to agree, there are some very, very poor things about the Vita shot that I just don't like. You know, it does take a while for it to kick in, and the Vita spray can heal you almost instantly. What do you think, guys? Do you think the Vita shot is trash, or is it good? Do you prefer the Vita spray? Let's discuss it. Finally, we've got the top comments. First from Mimnock that wrote, "I appreciate you not showing how to do the exploits." Good stuff, bro. Keep it up. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate that a ton. Yeah, I just want to make sure everything is good and we just don't show exploits in general on the channel, right? Because it does kind of ruin the game to some degree. The second top comment is by Nate Rhodes 7760 that said, it would be really cool if you could mix and match items you've unlocked in the shop and create your own outfits. I think that right there is a request that a lot of fans have been wanting, and hopefully they do give us the option to mix and match stuff. The third and final top comment is by Yams1181 that said, I would love to play on a map that was inspired by the Redwood Forest. I think it would be so cool to run around. It's surrounded by giant towering trees. Yeah, like a foresty type of biome would be absolutely awesome. Well, what you're describing is the same thing essentially, right? But nonetheless, those are the top comments. As always, hope you have enjoyed today's video. If you found it informative or helpful, consider tapping the thumbs up, subscribe, turn on notifications, and all that great stuff. Thank you for supporting the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.